The Tatas by Girish Kuber. So, without any further ado, let's get started with the introduction. The Tata Group is a global business conglomerate that is proudly Indian. But what is their secret to success? How did it all begin? What is the Tata culture? Fame, power, wealth, and success. The Tatas have it all. So what makes them different from all the billionaires in the world? If you're also curious to get the answers of these questions, then please stick around. You will learn these and much more from this book. So, let's start with the first chapter, Nasarwanji of Navsari. The Tata Group started with one man. His name is Nasarwan. When he was born in 1822, the astrologers said that Nasarwan will someday rule the world. He will be a rich man. But then every child born in the village of Navsari is prophesied to have a bright future. Nasarwanji Tata is different because he made the prophecy come true. Like many children of his generation, Nasarwanji was married off as a little child. He had his first son when he was 17. The boy's name is Jamset. He was born in 1839. Most people in Navsari do not want to leave. To them, the village is their whole world. Nasarwanji, however, felt a strong urge to start a business in Mumbai. He's the first member of his family to leave Navsari. Nasarwanji didn't have high education. He didn't have capital, and he didn't know the first thing about business. But he has that passion in him. Nasarwanji dreams of something big. That belief was enough to take him. He brought his wife and son with him in Mumbai. Once settled, he started on cotton trading with the help of a friend. Nasarwanji began to dream of a bright future for his son. Business is doing great. He did what he can to get his son the best education there is. Jamsetji eventually finished his college education. Nasarwanji wanted him to be exposed in international business, so he sent his son to the British colony of Hong Kong. Jamsetji established a business there with 3 partners. The Tatas began as dealers of cotton and opium. Nasarwanji also have a brother-in-law who is an opium dealer in Hong Kong. His name is Dada Bhoi Tata. He has a son who is 17 years older than Jamsetji. His name is Ratanji Dadabhoi Tata, or RD for short. RD was an opium dealer. He also became a dealer of perfumes and pearls. He often traveled to France for business negotiations. RD had to learn French. Jamsetji hired a French teacher for him. But RD did not only learn the language, he also fell in love with his teacher's daughter. Suzanne was the French girl's name. RD is a widow. He is also much older than Suzanne. Nevertheless, she fell madly in love with RD. They soon got married. RD worried that his wife will not be accepted by the Parsi community. He asked her to convert to Zoroastrianism. Suzanne obliged. She changed her name to Suni. RD and Suni had 5 children. The second child is named Jahangir, who will be known all over the world as JRD. The Tatas were making good business. They exported opium to China and cotton to Europe. At the same time, they also imported tea, textiles, and gold to India. The business expanded quickly. Jamsetji needed to open up a second office in Shanghai. It was also Jamsetji who established the Tata business in Europe. There were no passenger airlines at the time, and so he had to travel by ship. There were no cruise ships yet as well. People traveled along with all the cargo. In fact, Jamsetji traveled alongside some livestock. Chicken, pigs, and goats were being transported for fresh meat. Jamsetji endured the smell, the long journey, and the seasickness to get to his destination. He is determined to open up the Tata office in London. And that brings us to the next chapter, A Man Who Sowed Dreams. Jamsetji learned a lot about manufacturing in England. He thought that he could expand the business by trading and also manufacturing cotton. In 1873, Jamsetji started his own spinning and weaving mill. Most businessmen were looking to set up mills in Bombay or Ahmedabad. But Jamsetji chose Nagpur, which is nearer to the cotton farms. Jamsetji ordered superior machinery from England. He also hired experts to oversee the operations. He named his new business Empress Mills. The most challenging part of setting up the mill is the work culture in Nagpur. People are more laid back there. In Bombay, people work even on holidays. But in Nagpur, only 80% of the employees show up every day. They don't come to work for the smallest of reasons. Instead of punishing the employees, Jamsetji thought of a more positive solution. He came up with a provident fund scheme, or in other words, a pension plan. That is, so the employees will be secure of a decent living after they retire. Jamsetji also introduced an insurance scheme so that in case of a work accident, the employees can pay for medical expenses. He also encouraged events such as sports days and family days. Winners in the games can take home cash, wristwatches, or gold chains. Because of these ideas, Empress Mills workers were more motivated to work. There is a significant change in their work ethics. The pension plan and insurances are important because even in England, there are no benefits like these yet for the workers. It only proves the goodwill and farsightedness of Jamsetji. These qualities have been embedded in the Tata culture. Empress Mills is the foundation of the Tata Group. It operated successfully for 100 years. Jamsetji was often praised for his work, but he would not take the credit for himself. He shares the success with his employees. Coming to the next chapter, Baptism by Fire. JRD grew up in France. It was in 1925 when he started to work in Tata Steel. The Bombay house was only newly built then. His father RD introduced him to John Peterson, who is the managing director of Tata Steel. Peterson became JRD's mentor. After a few months, JRD was assigned to Jamshedpur. The place is called as Mecca of Indian industry. Tata already has a factory there. JRD was supposed to spend one day in each department and learn how things work. When summer arrived, RD went to France with the rest of the family. They were to spend the summer in their holiday home. JRD was told by his father to stay in Jamshedpur to train. RD was already 70 years old at the time. One night, his oldest daughter asked him to dance. RD agreed, but after a while he had to sit and rest. RD felt a mild pain on his chest. He went to the bathroom. It was there that he collapsed. RD passed away right there and then. He suffered a severe heart attack. His family didn't have the chance to call the doctors. RD, who had built the Tata business with Jamsetji from the start, is already gone. The news was definitely a shock for JRD. It is now his responsibility to look after his 4 siblings. Another challenge is that RD's companies are losing and they are covered in debt. What JRD did was to sell some of the properties. He sold the Sunita house, the bungalow in Pune, and the holiday home in France. JRD and his siblings lived at the Taj Mahal Hotel. JRD gave up his French citizenship to run the business. Also, he had to learn English since French is his native language. In 1973, the board members chose JRD to be the leader of the whole Tata empire.